Okay, I'm about to review with you the answers to the guided practice on how to fill out a checkbook register. But before I show you those answers, let's remember what I have given you freedom to as far as responses on this worksheet, okay, or on a register. In some columns, remember I told you may develop your own way of describing the transaction. Example, number or code column. Do you have to have the exact codes that I'm about to project on the board? No, remember I'm telling you this is your register. You develop whatever code system is going to work for you. That might not be the codes I've provided you, okay? So when I'm about to show you the answer key on the board, it doesn't mean that your code is wrong. It just means that I had something different, okay? All I'm going to be looking for as far as a quiz is making sure that you are using a code, and number two, that you're being consistent with the codes that you use, all right? Second thing, transaction description, all right? Do you have to have it exactly as I'm going to have it? No, you may have as much or as little information on there as you choose. Remember, I have encouraged you to err on the side of over-communicate rather than under, but that's entirely up to you. So do you have to have it exactly as I'm going to have written? No. If there is a transaction that has a fee associated with it, do you have to have the fee only in this column? Could you add it to the payment column?
Yes.
And vice versa. Both are acceptable to me. As long as you're being consistent with the method that you choose, that is okay with me. All right? Do you have to have a running balance for every transaction? Yes, you do. You have, that's what I'm going to be looking for that. Should you have all your deposits in the deposit column? Yes, I'm going to be making sure that any additions into your account are going there. Do you have to have all your deductions under the payment column?
Yes.
Yeah, with one exception, the fees, okay? All right, so we're kind of clear on what I'm about to project to you. There might be some slight variations on your work, and many of which will be completely fine, okay? All right, so let's go over this, all right? Oh, by the way, before I do, I want to share with you some of the observations I've had from teaching this in the past. Some students try to make this almost like a list. They will literally look at the dates and then go vertically and go down the columns this way and fill them out this way. I don't want you using that method. I want you to do it more as it would be reflective in the real world, which is one transaction at a time, one row at a time. That's the best way for you to learn, because that's how it's going to be like in the real world. In the real world, you're not going to have a whole list of transactions that you have to complete. Rather, you're going to be tackling them individually at each moment. All right? So please go in the manner that I have projected it to you. Okay? All right. So here's the answer key. All right? Just follow along with me and be patient. Remember, I encourage you to skip every other line. The students that skip every other line are the ones that seem to be far less confused when it comes to the addition and subtraction. Okay? All right, the very first thing that happened here is someone opened the checking account on February 4th. I just indicated that with a D. Gave a description of opening deposit. Because it's a deposit, we're putting it under the deposit column. I always do this. I always put a minus sign above the payment, an addition sign above the deposit. It just is a help for me to remember when to add and when to subtract. Okay? All right, so we have a deposit here. This is the very first transaction of this account because it's an opening deposit. We're just opening it. So there's nothing that I need to pull from above. I just write the 200. Okay? I had to give the bank 20 bucks so I can get my checks printed. That is what the next transaction reflects. I use C for the cash that is used for those checks. you may have elected to have a different code here. Okay? $20, subtracting that, because it's a minus, would leaves us with $180. Alright? Next transaction is a check. We're putting the check number here. What is wrong with the checks numbers that are indicated here? This person did not take the advice given to them and started their checks with 100. What number do I encourage you to start off with? 1,000. Remember, you don't want to be flagged as a newbie. Okay? So ask your bank to give you checks that begin with the number 1,000. Okay? So on April 6th, this person went to Fine Foods. This is all payments, so we're just subtracting. All right? The next two transactions are relatively similar, just different check numbers. Okay? This person went to Fine Foods, then a bookstore on the same day, April 6th. All right? Next thing, so this is the one curveball I threw out for you, is April 7th, checks number 102. Check number 102. This is a check that you wrote to yourself for cash. This is a check that you wrote to yourself for $30. Now you may ask yourself, why on earth would you do that? Okay? There are occasions when you're going to need cash only, and there's no ATM around. So I just wanted to throw this out to you as an example to show you about how you can obtain cash when you only have personal checks. What you can do is write a check to yourself for $30. Let's say you were going to the Blue Jackets game and you parked unknowingly in a bad spot, and you walk up, you're leaving the game, and there's a guy with a tow truck, and he says, you have to give me $30, or otherwise I'm going to tow it to the lot, and then it's going to be $90 to get you out of impound. You obviously are going to give him the $30, but he will, for obvious reasons, will only accept cash. Okay? You look around, there's no ATM nearby, you don't want to leave him, but you do see a store nearby. You can walk into the store, write a check to yourself for cash, ask that store to cash it for you. Now they may charge you $5, okay? So maybe you need to increase this to $35 so then you can pay her the $5 fee. But that's a way to get cash out of your account if you don't have an ATM around. That's just, I wanted to show you that. And when it comes to pay to the order of on that check that you're writing, you can either put your name, your first and last name, so you're paying to the order of yourself, or you can literally write 4 words, to self for cash. Okay? Both are acceptable, and then you just turn this check over and sign it. So you're literally turning money, a personal check into cash if you need it. That's good in a pinch. Okay? Questions on writing checks to yourself and why? Okay? Next one is another curveball I threw out for you. I purposefully put this out here because there was no transaction code that I provided for you. I did not give you a hint here. So you had to develop a transaction code on your own. For an automatic withdrawal, I'm suggesting the transaction code of AW. AW for a phone bill. Okay? The other thing that you had to look at is the phone bill transaction in and of itself. The date of the phone bill was what? April 5th. However, the transaction occurred on April 8th. What I wanted you to understand here is it is irrelevant the date of the bill. A check register is to record the dates of your transaction. So the date of a bill is irrelevant. What matters is the date that the money moves out of your account. So that's why you always choose the date of the transaction under date. Okay? What is an automatic withdrawal? Well, an automatic withdrawal is when you have given a company authorization to pull money out of your account. Okay? You know a bill is coming, you just don't know how much. This is a great option, as we've talked about before, for utility bills, because you know the bill is due and when, but you don't know how much because it depends on your usage. This is a non-discretionary expense. Fixed expenses can be automatic payments with a different transaction code. That might be an AP, automatic payments, in which you know when it's due and how much, so you can send the money out of the account. Automatic withdrawals mean that the company is pulling the money for you, okay? In this case, it was $25.50, leaving us $87.89. Then lastly, you have a paycheck for 2 weeks, deposit with a letter D for $113.76. Final running balance number is $201.65. Does anybody know what number we would write at the top of the next page of our register?
201.
This is the number that you are going to write at the very top of your next page. Okay, congratulations to those who went through this guided practice. I am now going to give you the quiz on how to do a checkbook register. Okay?